I'm Sarah Mitchell, and I never imagined that a Tuesday, November 10th would be the worst day of my life. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely hold the coffee cup as I sit in the lawyer's office. Watching my sister Jessica count her inheritance, as if she had won the lottery. She's so happy that it didn't even seem like our grandfather had just passed away. $9 million. That's what my parents just gave her, while they looked at me and said the words that still echo in my head. Go earn your own money, Sarah. The air in this room feels heavy. I can't breathe properly. My heart is beating so fast I think it might explode. Jessica keeps smiling that fake smile she's used her whole life. The one that says she deserves everything while I deserve nothing. She's always been the favorite, the marketing executive with the big house and perfect life. And me, I'm just a 45-year-old nurse who lives in a cramped apartment and works nights to pay rent. But something feels wrong. Grandpa William never treated me the way my parents did. He looked at me with sad eyes, like he was keeping a secret that hurt him. Now he's dead, and I'm watching my sister get rich while I get nothing. Mr. Benjamin Cross. The lawyer is old, with wrinkled hands and thick glasses. He's been moving papers around for 10 minutes, but now he stops and stares right at me. My stomach drops because his face looks scared. Miss Sarah, he says, and his voice sounds different now. Careful. There's something else. My parents go stiff. Mom's face turns white. Dad's jaw gets tight like it does when he's nervous. Jessica stops counting money and looks confused. Mr. Cross opens his desk and pulls out a yellow envelope. It's sealed with old wax, and my name is written on it in Grandpa's handwriting. I can't breathe. Your grandfather left instructions, the lawyer says quietly. This envelope is for you only. To be opened after his death with the family present. Nobody moves. Nobody speaks. I can hear the clock on the wall and cars outside. But in here, it's like we're all dead. My hands shake as I reach for the envelope. When I touch it, it feels hot. What's inside? Jessica asks, but now she sounds scared instead of greedy. I break the wax seal. It crumbles like dust. Inside are two things, a letter and official papers. I open the letter first, and Grandpa's writing is blurry because tears are filling my eyes. But the first line hits me like a slap. My dear Sarah, if you're reading this, I'm dead, and you're old enough to know the truth. You are not Robert and Patricia's biological daughter. You were adopted at 6 months old. The words dance in front of me. Adopted, the room spins. I can't catch my breath. My parents, the people who raised me like I was a burden, they're not. Even my real parents, but there's more. I keep reading with shaking hands. Your real parents were James and Margaret Harper. They died in a car accident when you were a baby. They left you something very important, something your adoptive parents have hidden from you for 30 years. I look up. My parents look sick. Dad stares at the floor. Mom covers her mouth, like she might throw up. Jessica looks back and forth between us, like she's lost. You knew, I whisper. My voice sounds broken. You both knew and never told me. Mom tries to speak but can't. Dad clears his throat, but I turn back to the letter before. He can lie again. The papers are official documents, birth certificates, adoption records, and something else that makes my heart stop. A will. My biological parents will. Everything goes to their baby daughter. To me, Mr. Cross watches me like I might faint. Miss Sarah, he says softly, your biological parents owned Harper Technologies. After they died, the company was sold. The money went into a trust fund that's been growing for 30 years. Harper Technologies. I know that name. They made computer software that every business uses. They were worth millions. How much? I ask. My voice sounds like someone else, Mr. Mr. Cross looks at my parents, then back at me. With interest and investments, the trust fund is worth about $250 million. Everything explodes. Jessica drops her papers and they fly everywhere. Mom starts crying, but not happy tears, scared tears. Dad jumps up so fast his chair falls over. That's impossible, Dad says, but his voice shakes. We were told there was no money, they were broke. But I see the truth in his eyes. They knew, they always knew. They took me in thinking they could control my money. When they couldn't get it, they treated me like trash while spoiling Jessica with what should have been mine. My whole life is a lie, every mean word. Every time they chose Jessica over me, every time they made me feel worthless, it was all fake. They stole my identity, my family, my inheritance. They made me think I was nothing while knowing I was worth $250 million. I stand up. My legs feel weak. The envelope falls and papers scatter on the carpet. Everyone stares at me, waiting for me to do something, but my brain won't work. My entire world just died and was reborn in 5 minutes. I need air, I say, stumbling toward the door. Behind me, Mom calls my name, but her voice sounds far away and hollow as I reach for the door handle. One thought burns in my mind. If they lied about this, what else are they hiding? I push through the door and collapse against the hallway wall. My chest feels like someone is sitting on it. I can't stop shaking. 45 years? 45 years of being treated like I didn't matter? 45 years of wondering why I was never good enough. And now I know the truth. I was never their daughter. I was just a meal ticket they couldn't cash in. Inside the office, I hear Jessica's voice getting louder. But what about my inheritance? This doesn't change anything, right? Even now, she's only thinking about money. Even after finding out her sister isn't really her sister. All she cares about is keeping her $9 million. My stomach turns and I run to the bathroom down the hall. I barely make it before I throw up everything I ate this morning. When I'm done, I look at myself in the mirror. Same brown hair, same green eyes, same face I've had my whole life. But now I don't know who I'm looking at anymore. Who were James and Margaret Harper? What were they like? Did they want me? Did they love me? And why the hell did Robert and Patricia Coleman pretend to be my parents for 30 years while treating me like garbage? I splash cold water on my face, but it doesn't help. Nothing will help. My entire life is built on lies, and now I have to figure out how to live with that. The drive home feels like I'm moving through quicksand. Every red light, every turn, every familiar street corner looks different now. Like I'm seeing my own neighborhood through someone else's eyes. Because that's what I am now, someone else. Not Sarah Coleman. Sarah Harper, a name I've never heard before today, but it's supposed to be mine. My apartment building looks smaller and sadder than usual. The paint is peeling off the front door, and there's a broken light in the hallway. That's been flickering for months. I used to think this was just my life, the nurse who couldn't afford anything better. But now, I know the truth. While I was scraping together rent money and working double shifts, I had millions sitting in some bank account I didn't even know existed. I throw my keys on the kitchen counter and they make a loud crash that echoes through my tiny living room. The sound makes me jump. Everything feels too loud, too bright, too real. I need answers, and I need them now. My laptop is old and slow, but it finally boots up. I type James and Margaret Harper into the search engine with shaking fingers. The first result makes my heart stop. There's a picture of them. A young couple holding a baby with dark hair and green eyes. A baby that looks exactly like me. The article is from 30 years ago. Tech company founders die in tragic accident. Leave behind infant daughter. I read every word twice, then 3 times. James Harper was 28, Margaret was 20. They started Harper Technologies in their garage and built it into a multi-million-dollar company in just 5 years. The article says they were driving home from a business dinner when a drunk driver hit them head-on. They died instantly. And their baby daughter, me, was being watched by a babysitter that night. The article mentions that I was placed with a loving family for adoption. Loving family? I want to laugh, but nothing about this is funny. Robert and Patricia Coleman, loving, they've never shown me love a single day in my life. I keep reading. There are more articles about the sale of Harper Technologies after my parents died. The company sold for $47 million. All of it was supposed to go into a trust fund for me. But somehow, Robert and Patricia convinced everyone they were the right people to raise me. My phone buzzes. It's Mom. No, Patricia, I can't call her Mom anymore. Sarah, honey, we need to talk. Come home right now. Home. That word makes my stomach sick. Their house was never my home. It was their house, where they let me live while they waited for my trust fund money. I don't answer the text. Instead, I grab my car keys and drive to the one place that might have answers. Grandpa William's house. The old Victorian house looks empty without his car in the driveway. I still have the spare key he gave me years ago. He always said I was welcome anytime, unlike my so-called parents who made me feel like a burden whenever I visited. Inside. Everything smells like his pipe tobacco and old books. I stand in his living room and look around with new eyes. Did he know the truth the whole time? Is that why he always treated me differently? The attic. That's where Grandpa kept all his old papers and photo albums. If there are answers anywhere, they'll be up there. The wooden ladder creaks under my feet as I climb up. The attic is dusty and dark, filled with boxes and old furniture. I pull the chain on the light bulb, and it casts weird shadows on everything. Most of the boxes are labeled in Grandpa's handwriting. Christmas decorations, old books, family photos. But there's one box in the corner that's different. It's newer than the others, and there's no label. Just my name written in black marker. Sarah. My hands shake as I pull the box toward me. It's heavier than I expected. Inside there are photo albums, letters, and official documents. But the first thing I see makes me gasp out loud. It's a photo of me as a baby, but I'm not with Robert and Patricia. I'm with James and Margaret Harper. My real parents. They're both smiling at the camera, and Margaret is holding me close to her chest. On the back, someone wrote, Sarah's first Christmas, 6 months old. I flipped through more photos. Me learning to crawl. Me taking my first steps. Me laughing while James tickles me. In every picture, they look so happy, like they couldn't believe they got to be my parents. But then the photos stop. The last one is dated just 2 weeks before they died. Under the photos, there are letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me, all from someone named Victoria Harper. The return address is from California, and the letters spanned 15 years. 15 years of someone trying to reach me. I opened the most recent one with trembling fingers. Dear Sarah, I'm your cousin Victoria. I've been trying to find you since you were 10 years old. My father was your dad's brother. We've been searching for you ever since the adoption, but every time we got close, we hit a dead end. If you ever get this letter, please call me. You have family who loves you and has been looking for you your whole life. Family. Real family. Who's been looking for me? My throat feels tight and tears start running down my face. While I was growing up thinking I was alone, thinking Robert and Patricia were all I had, there were people out there who wanted me. People who cared enough to spend 15 years searching. I grabbed my phone and dialed the number from Victoria's letter. It rings twice before a woman answers. Hello. Is this Victoria Harper? My voice cracks when I say it. There's a long silence. Then, Sarah. Oh my God, is this really Sarah? I think so. I just found your letters. I just found out today that I'm adopted. Victoria starts crying on the other end of the phone. We've been looking for you for so long. We never stopped. Are you okay? Are you safe? Safe. That's a good question. Am I safe? I just found out my entire life is a lie and the people who raised me have been stealing from me for 30 years. I don't know, I whisper. I don't know anything anymore. Where are you right now? I'm at my grandfather's house. My adoptive grandfather, he died a few days ago. Sarah, listen to me very carefully. You're in danger. The people who adopted you, they're not who they pretend to be. We've been investigating them for years. You need to get somewhere safe and you need to call the police. Danger. The word hits me like ice water. What do you mean? They forged documents to get custody of you. They've been accessing your trust fund illegally, and Sarah, Victoria's voice drops to a whisper. Your parents didn't die in a car accident. They were murdered. The phone slips out of my hand and crashes to the attic floor. Murdered. My real parents were murdered, and the people who raised me might be the ones who did it? The phone screen is cracked, but I can still hear Victoria's voice calling my name through the speaker. I pick it up with shaking hands, my whole body trembling like I'm freezing to death. Sarah, Sarah, are you there? Murdered? The word comes out like a croak. What do you mean, murdered? I know this is a shock, but you need to listen. The police report said car accident, but our private investigator found evidence that someone tampered with their brakes. James and Margaret were getting threats before they died. My legs give out and I collapse onto the dusty attic floor. The box of letters and photos spills everywhere around me. Everything I thought I knew about my life is crumbling like those old photo edges. Who, I whisper. Who killed them? We don't know for sure yet, but, Sarah, we think the people who adopted you were involved. Think about it. How did they know about you so fast? The people who fed me and clothed me and made me feel worthless every single day? They might be murderers. I have to go, I say, panic rising in my chest. I have to get out of here. Wait, don't go home. Don't go anywhere they can find you. Meet me somewhere public. I can be on a plane tonight, but I'm not listening anymore. I'm looking at something that fell out of the box when I dropped it. My real mother's handwriting. January 15th, Sarah took her first steps today. James cried more than I did. She's going to be such a strong little girl. I can already see her determination in those beautiful green eyes. February 3rd, someone called. The office again today asking about selling the company. James is getting worried. These people won't take no for an answer. I told him we should call the police, but he says they haven't actually threatened us. February 20th, the calls are getting scarier. Now they're asking about Sarah specifically. I'm scared. March 2nd, James found someone following us home from dinner. We're going to stay at his brother's house in California until this blows over. I just want to keep our baby safe. March 10th. Last entry. If something happens to us, I need people to know that Robert Coleman has been calling us. He works for Technocorp, the company that wants to buy us out. If anything happens to me and James, don't let him near our daughter. The diary falls from my hands. Robert Coleman, my adoptive father, he was stalking my family before my parents died, and somehow, after they were murdered, he ended up with me. My phone rings again. This time, it's Patricia calling. Sarah, where are you? You need to come home right now. We need to explain everything. Explain what? My voice sounds dead even to me. Explain how you murdered my parents. The line goes quiet for so long, I think she hung up. Then she speaks, and her voice is different, cold, not the fake sweet voice she usually uses. You don't know what you're talking about. Come home, Sarah. Now, go to hell. I hang up and immediately dial Victoria's number back. Victoria, I found something, a diary. Oh God, Sarah, you need to get out of there right now. If he finds out, you know the front door slams downstairs. Heavy footsteps echo through Grandpa's house. Sarah. Robert's voice booms from the living room. I know you're here. Your car's. In the driveway, I cover my mouth to keep from screaming. He sounds angry, angrier than I've ever heard him. I crawl toward the attic window, phone still pressed to my ear. He's here, I whispered to Victoria. He's in the house. Hide. Don't let him find you. I'm calling the police. The footsteps are getting closer. He's climbing the stairs to the second floor. Soon he'll think to check the attic. I stuff the diary and some of the letters. Maybe I can climb down and run to my car, Sarah. Robert yells again. He's on the second floor now. Stop playing games. We need to talk. The window is stuck. I push and push, but it won't budge. Years of paint have sealed it shut. I can hear him opening doors downstairs, searching room by room. My heart is beating so loud, I'm sure he can hear it. I try the window again, putting all my weight behind it. Finally, it gives way with a loud crack. What was that? Robert's voice is closer now. He's coming upstairs to the attic. I squeeze through the window just as I hear the attic ladder creaking. My feet hit the porch roof and the old shingles slide under my shoes. I have to grab the gutter to keep from falling. Below me, I can see my car in the driveway. If I can get down there and run fast enough, I might make it. I slide down to the edge of the roof and hang from the gutter. It's only about an 8-foot drop to the ground, but it feels like a cliff. I close my eyes and let go. I hit the ground hard and something in my ankle twists wrong. Get back. Here, I don't look back. The engine turns over just as Robert appears at the front door. My car flies backward out of the driveway and I see Robert diving out of the way. For a split second, I think about running him over. This man who killed my parents and stole my life, but I can't. I'm not a killer like he is. I shift into drive and speed down the street, my hands shaking so hard I can barely steer. In my rearview mirror, I see Robert standing in the middle of the street, watching me disappear. My phone rings. Victoria again. Sarah. Are you okay? Did you get away? I'm driving. Check in under a fake name and pay cash. Don't use your credit cards. Don't go home. Don't trust anyone. The people who raised me are murderers. I know, honey, I know. But we're going to get justice for James and Margaret. We're going to make sure Robert and Patricia pay for what they did. My parents' killers. And now they know that I know the truth. The Hampton Inn lobby feels like a safe cave after the nightmare at Grandpa's house. My ankle throbs with every step, but I force myself to walk normally to the front desk. The young clerk barely looks up when I pay cash for a room under the name Mary Johnson. Room 237 is small and smells like cleaning supplies, but it has a deadbolt and a chain lock. I use both, then collapse on the bed and finally let myself fall apart. 30 years. 30 years of living with the people who murdered my parents and stole my identity. Every birthday cake, every Christmas morning, every time they told me. I should be grateful it was all a sick joke. My phone buzzes with a text from Jessica. What the hell is wrong with you? Mom and Dad are worried sick. Come home right now. Mom and Dad, even Jessica doesn't know the truth. She probably thinks I'm just being dramatic about the inheritance. She has no idea she's been living with murderers her whole life too. I don't answer her. Instead, I spread out the letters and photos from Grandpa's attic on the hotel bed. There are dozens of pictures I've never seen before. Me as a baby, laughing and playing with James and Margaret. They look so young and happy. In one photo, Margaret is holding me while James reads me a book. On the back, someone wrote, Sarah loves story time. She's going to be so smart. The pain in my chest gets worse. These people loved me, really loved me. And Robert and Patricia took that away from all of us. There's a soft knock at my door. My heart stops. Sarah. It's Victoria. I look through the peephole and see a woman about my age with dark hair and green eyes. She looks like me. She looks like family. I unlock the door, and before I can say anything, Victoria pulls me into a hug. She smells like vanilla perfume and feels warm and safe. For the first time in my life, I'm hugging someone who shares my blood. I can't believe I finally found you, she whispers, and her voice is shaky. I've been looking for you since I was 15 years old. We sit on the hotel bed surrounded by the photos and letters. Victoria picks up a picture of James and Margaret and smiles sadly. You look just like your mom, she says. Same stubborn chin, same determined eyes. James used to say, Margaret could move mountains with that look. Tell me about them. Tell me. Everything. Victoria pulls out her phone and shows me more photos. James was my dad's younger brother. He was brilliant with computers, but he was also the funniest person I knew. He could make anyone laugh. And Margaret was this force of nature. She ran the business side while James handled the tech stuff. They were perfect together. She swipes to a video, and suddenly I'm watching my real parents move and talk. James is pushing a lawnmower while Margaret follows behind him with a water hose, spraying him and laughing. He chases her around the yard, both of them soaking wet and giggling. Like kids, they tried for years to have a baby. Victoria continues. When you were born, they acted like you were a miracle. Because you were. James carried your picture everywhere and showed it to anyone who would look. Tears blur my vision. Why didn't you find me sooner? We tried. God, we tried so hard. But every time we got close, we hit legal roadblocks. Robert and Patricia had lawyers. Good ones. They claimed the adoption was sealed for your protection. They moved you around different schools so we couldn't track you down. We hired private investigators, but they always stayed one step ahead of us. How did you know to keep looking? Victoria's face gets dark. Because we knew something was wrong. From the beginning. The day after your parents died, Robert Coleman showed up at the hospital where you were staying. He had legal documents saying he was your emergency guardian. But James and Margaret never signed anything like that. We fought it in court. But somehow he had all the right paperwork. Forged paperwork. We think so, but we could never prove it. And then you just ... disappeared. They moved you to a different state, changed your last name from Harper to Coleman. We spent 15 years searching for Sarah Harper, not knowing you were Sarah Coleman. My phone rings. It's an unknown number. But when I answer, I recognize the voice immediately. Sarah, this is Mr. Cross, the lawyer. You need to come to my office immediately. There's been a development. What kind of development? I can't discuss it over the phone, but it's about your trust fund. Someone has been accessing it illegally for years. I look at Victoria and she nods. We'll be right there. 20 minutes later, we're sitting in Mr. Cross's office again. But this time, there are 2 other people with him. A police detective. And a woman in a business suit who introduces herself as an FBI financial crimes investigator. Miss Harper, Mr. Cross, says, using my real last name for the first time. We've been investigating your trust fund since this afternoon. What we found is ... extensive. The FBI agent opens a thick folder. Someone has been withdrawing money from your trust fund for 27 years. Small amounts at first, but larger sums in recent years. Nearly $8 million total. $8 million. The same amount Jessica just inherited. My stomach turns who I ask, even though I already know the answer. Robert and Patricia Coleman. They've been forging your signature on documents since you turned 18. We have handwriting samples, bank records, everything we need to prosecute them for fraud and embezzlement. The detective leans forward. Miss Harper, we also reopened the investigation into your parents' death based on evidence your cousin provided. We found the mechanic who was paid to tamper with their car. He's been in prison for an unrelated crime, and he's willing to testify that Robert Coleman hired him. Victoria grabs my hand. It's over, Sarah. We finally have proof, but I don't feel relieved. I feel empty, hollow, like someone scooped out my insides and left me with nothing but rage. Where are they now, I ask. We have units watching their house, the detective says. We'll arrest them tonight. My phone buzzes with another text from Jessica. Dad says you're spreading lies about the family. He's coming to find you. What is wrong with you? I show the text to the detective. He frowns. Miss Harper, you might want to stay somewhere safe tonight. People who are about to be arrested for murder sometimes do desperate things. Victoria squeezes my hand tighter. You're staying with me. I already booked us a suite at the Marriott downtown, 24-hour security. As we leave the lawyer's office, I realize something has changed inside me. The scared, confused woman who walked out of this building this morning is gone. In her place is someone harder, someone who knows the truth. Robert and Patricia Coleman stole my parents, my identity, my money, and 30 years of my life. But they made one mistake. They let me live long enough to find out what they did. And now, I'm going to make sure they pay for every single day they stole from me. The hotel room phone rings at 3:47 a.m., jolting me awake from the first real sleep I've had in 2 days. Victoria stirs in the bed next to mine as I fumble for the receiver. Sarah? It's Detective Martinez from yesterday. His voice sounds grim. We have a problem. My blood turns to ice. What happened? Robert and Patricia Coleman are gone. When we went to arrest them tonight, the house was empty. Neighbors say they saw them loading suitcases into their car around midnight. We have an APB out, but they've had a 3-hour head start. I sit up, suddenly wide awake. What about Jessica? She's safe. She's at the police station asking a lot of questions. She had no idea what her parents were involved in. But Sarah, there's something else. We found evidence they were planning to leave the country. Fake passports, offshore bank accounts. They've been preparing for this for months. Victoria is sitting up now, watching my face. I can see the fear in her eyes. They knew, I whisper. They knew this day would come eventually. There's more. We found a burner phone at their house with recent calls to a number in Mexico. We think they're heading for the border? But Sarah, the last text message on that phone was about you. They know where you're staying. The phone slips from my hands. Victoria catches it before it hits the floor. Detective, she says into the receiver. How do they know where we are? I can hear his voice through the speaker. We're not sure, but you need to get out of there right now. Don't pack anything, just go. We're sending a patrol car to escort you to the safe house. But as Victoria hangs up the phone, we hear something that makes our blood freeze. The elevator in the hallway stops at our floor with a soft ding. I grab Victoria's arm and pull her toward the bathroom. We close the door and lock it just as we hear footsteps in the hall outside our room. Heavy footsteps that stop right outside our door. 3 soft knocks. Sarah. Robert's voice is calm, which somehow makes it more terrifying. I know you're in there. We need to talk. Victoria pulls out her phone to call 911, but I stop her. If he hears us calling the police, he might do something desperate. Another knock, louder this time. Sarah, open the door. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Go away, I yell through the bathroom door. The police are looking for you. The police don't understand the whole story. Patricia's voice joins in. We raised you, Sarah. We loved you. We deserve a chance to explain. Loved me. The word makes me sick. You murdered my parents. Your parents were going to destroy everything. Robert's voice gets louder, angrier. They were selfish people who didn't understand business. We saved that company. We saved you. I hear something metal scraping against the main door. There. Picking the lock. Victoria and I look around the bathroom frantically. There's a small window above the toilet, but we're on the 23rd floor. The only other option is to wait and hope the police get here first. The main door opens with a soft click. Sarah, please. We just want to talk. Patricia's voice is closer now. She's inside the room. I can hear them moving around, checking the closet, looking under the beds. It's only a matter of seconds before they try the bathroom door. We know. We found the diary, Robert says. We know Victoria filled your head with lies about us. But think about it, Sarah. If we wanted to hurt you, would we have raised you for 30 years? Would we have fed you and clothed you and sent you to school? You stole my inheritance. I shout back. We invested it. Patricia sounds defensive. Now, we used that money to give Jessica opportunities to build a better life for our family. We were going to tell you eventually when were you going to tell me you murdered my parents? The bathroom doorknob turns. It's locked, but I can hear Robert doing something to it. The lock won't hold much longer. Victoria grabs my hand and points to the window. It's our only chance. I climb onto the toilet and push the window open. Cold night air rushes in, along with the sounds of traffic, 23 floors below. The window is barely big enough for a person to fit through, and outside is a narrow ledge that runs along the building. I can't, I whisper to Victoria. I'm afraid of heights. You have to, she whispers back. It's either that or face them. The bathroom lock clicks open. I close my eyes and squeeze through the window onto the ledge. The wind whips around me and I press my back against the building wall. Victoria follows right behind me. The bathroom door opens just as Victoria pulls. The window closed behind us. Double quotes. Where the hell did they go? Robert's voice is muffled but angry. We're standing on a ledge barely 2 feet wide, 23 stories above the street. My legs are shaking so hard I can barely stand. To our left, about 10 feet away, is another window, if we can reach it. Maybe we can get into a different room. Victoria goes first, sliding along the ledge with her back pressed against the building. I follow, trying not to look down. The wind is strong and every gust makes me feel like I'm going to fall behind. I hear the bathroom window open. I see them. Patricia's voice carries on the wind. They're on the ledge. We're almost to the other window when I hear Robert shout, Sarah, you're going to get yourself killed. Come back inside. Victoria reaches the window and tries to open. It's locked. Break it, I tell her. She uses her elbow to smash the glass. The sound is loud, but not as loud as the sirens I can hear. Getting closer from the street below, we climb through the broken window into an empty hotel room. Victoria immediately runs to the door and opens it, and we rush into the hallway just as the elevator opens and 2 police officers step out. Thank God, Victoria breathes. The officers escort us back toward our room where we can hear Robert and Patricia shouting at each other through the walls. This is your fault. Patricia's voice is shrill. I told you we should have left yesterday. Shut up and help me think. Robert snaps back. Detective Martinez appears from the stairwell with more officers. He looks relieved to see us alive. Are you hurt? We're okay, I say, but my voice is shaking. They're in our room. The officers surround our door. Detective Martinez knocks loudly. Robert and Patricia Coleman. This is the police. Come out with your hands up. The shouting inside stops. For a moment, everything is quiet. Then Robert's voice. Calmer now. We want to talk to Sarah first. That's not happening. Detective Martinez calls back. You have 10 seconds to come out or we're coming in. Sarah. Patricia screams suddenly. We loved you. We gave you everything. How can you do this to us? Everything. They gave me everything except the truth. Except my real family. Except the life that was supposed to be mine. You gave me nothing, I shout back. And my voice is stronger now than it's ever been. You took everything from me. You killed my parents. And stole my life. We saved your life, Robert yells. Your parents were going to ruin everything. They didn't understand what they had. The officers break down the door. I hear scuffling, shouting. The sound of handcuffs clicking into place. When they bring Robert and Patricia out into the hallway, they both look older than I've ever seen them. Patricia is crying, but Robert just stares at me with cold eyes. You'll regret this, he says quietly as they lead him past me. You have no idea what you've done, but I don't feel scared anymore. I feel empty. These people who raised me, who I called mom and dad for 30 years, are strangers. They always were strangers. As the police lead them away, Victoria puts her arm around me. It's over, she says softly. They can't hurt you anymore. But I know. It's not really over. This is just the beginning. Now I have to figure out how to live with the truth, how to rebuild my life from nothing, and how to be Sarah Harper instead of Sarah Coleman, the scared little girl who spent 30 years trying to earn love from people who never cared about her is gone. In her place is someone I'm just starting to meet. 6 months later, I'm standing in a courtroom watching Robert and Patricia Coleman get sentenced to life in prison for murder. The judge's voice echoes off the walls as he reads their crimes. First-degree murder, fraud, embezzlement, kidnapping. Each word feels like a weight lifting off my chest. Jessica sits in the back row crying. She's lost 20 pounds since the arrests, and her perfect life has crumbled. The $9 million she inherited? Gone. Seized as evidence since it was stolen from my trust fund. Her fancy house, sold to pay legal fees. Her marketing job, she quit after her coworkers found out her parents were murderers, but I don't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. When the sentencing is over, Jessica approaches me in the hallway. Her eyes are red and swollen. Sarah, please. I know you hate me, but I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what they did. I look at her, this woman I called my sister for 30 years, and feel nothing. No anger, no sadness, no connection at all. You knew I was treated differently. I say quietly, you knew they favored you. You knew it was wrong, but you never questioned it because it benefited you. I was just a kid. You were 27 when I graduated high school and they refused to help pay for college. You had your MBA paid for with my stolen money and you said nothing. Jessica starts crying harder. What am I supposed to do now? I lost everything. My parents, my money, my career. I have nothing left. Now you know how I felt my entire life. I walk away and don't look back. Outside the courthouse, Victoria is waiting for me with a manila folder in her hands. How do you feel? She asks. Empty? But good? Empty? Like someone finally cleaned out an infected wound? Victoria smiles and hands me the folder. Well, this might help fill some of that emptiness. Inside are documents from the trust fund administrators. My inheritance, with 30 years of compound interest and careful investments, is now worth over $400 million. But that's not what makes my heart race. There's also a letter from Harper Technology's current CEO. The company my parents built was sold after their death, but it grew into something huge. The new owners want to create a foundation in James and Margaret Harper's memory, focused on helping orphan children and funding technology education. They want you to run it, Victoria says. Full salary, complete control over how the money gets spent. You'd be honoring your parents' legacy while helping kids who went through what you did. I think about all those years working as a nurse, taking care of people who couldn't take care of themselves. It was the only time I ever felt useful, ever felt like my life mattered. Now I could do that on a much bigger scale. There's one more thing, Victoria continues. We found more family. Your dad had a cousin in Seattle who's been looking for you too, and your mom's sister lives in Denver. They want to meet you. More family. Real family who actually wants me. In their lives, 3 months later, I'm sitting in the conference room of the Harper Foundation headquarters, reviewing grant applications. We've already funded programs in 12 states that help adopted children find their biological families and protect inheritance rights for orphans. Dr. Michael Thompson, my old colleague from the hospital, is now the foundation's medical director. He helps identify children in the foster system who need extra support. There's a case in Portland, he says, sliding a file across the table. 8-year-old girl whose parents died in a car accident. The foster family is great, but they're struggling financially. The girl is gifted in mathematics, but there's no money for advanced programs. I approve the grant immediately. It's exactly the kind of situation my parents would have wanted us to help. After Michael leaves, I walk to the window of my office. It overlooks downtown Chicago, where I moved to be closer to Victoria and our newly discovered cousins. From up here, I can see the hospital where I used to work, where I used to think my small life was all I deserved. My phone rings. It's Amanda Harper, my cousin from Denver, who's also a lawyer. She's been helping me navigate all the legal complexities of reclaiming my identity. Sarah, I have news. The DNA testing came back on those letters we found in Grandpa William's attic. He wasn't related to Robert and Patricia at all. He was your biological grandfather's best friend. Another piece of the puzzle falls into place. So he knew the truth the whole time. He knew everything. There's a letter he left with his own lawyer, to be opened only after Robert and Patricia were arrested. He spent 30 years documenting their crimes, gathering evidence, waiting for the right moment to expose them. Why didn't he just tell me? He tried. Sarah, the letter explains everything. Robert threatened to kill him if he ever told you the truth. But Grandpa William made sure that when the time came, you'd have everything you needed to get justice. I hang up and sit quietly in my office. Even from the grave, people who truly loved me were still protecting me, still fighting. For me, Grandpa William, my biological parents, Victoria, and the rest of my real family, they never stopped trying to bring me home. That evening, I drive to the cemetery where my real parents are buried. I've been coming here every week since I found their graves. Tonight, I have something special to tell them. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I kneel down and place fresh flowers on their headstone. I wanted you to know that the Harper Foundation approved funding for 32 new programs this month. We're helping kids who lost their parents, just like I did. We're making sure no one else gets their life stolen the way mine was. The wind picks up, rustling the leaves on the trees around me. For a moment, it almost sounds like whispers, like voices telling me they're proud. I know I can't get back the 30 years I lost with you, but I promise I'm going to spend the rest of my life living the way you would have wanted me to. I'm going to help people. I'm going to love my real family, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows your names and what you built. As I drive home to my new apartment, a beautiful place with big windows and room for all the family photos, I'm finally allowed to display. I think about transformation. 6 months ago, I was Sarah Coleman, the forgotten daughter who worked double shifts and lived in a tiny apartment, while begging for scraps of affection from people who never loved her. Now, I'm Sarah Harper, daughter of James and Margaret Harper, director of a foundation that helps thousands of children, surrounded by family who actually wants me in their lives. The scared little girl who spent 30 years trying to earn love she was never going to get is gone. In her place is a woman who knows exactly who she is and what she's worth. But more importantly, I've learned something that Robert and Patricia Coleman never understood. Real love isn't something you have to earn. It's something that's freely given by people who see your value. My biological parents loved me unconditionally from the moment I was born. Victoria and my cousins love me for who I am, not what I can give them. The best revenge against the people who stole my life isn't destroying them. It's living the life they tried to take away from me. It's being happy and successful and surrounded by love despite everything they did to break me, and that's exactly what I plan to do. 1 year later, I'm standing in the living room of my real family's house in California, watching my cousin Victoria teach her 5-year-old daughter how to braid hair. The afternoon sun streams through windows that actually welcome me in a home where I finally belong. Aunt Sarah? Look, Victoria's daughter Emma runs over with her crooked braids. Mommy taught me. Aunt Sarah. The words make my heart warm every time I hear them. For the first time in my life, I'm not just someone's burden or mistake. I'm family. The Harper Foundation has grown beyond anything I imagined. We've helped over 500 children find their families and protected millions in inheritance money from being stolen. Last month, we opened our first residential facility for kids aging out of foster care. But the best part isn't the money or the recognition. It's the letters I get from children who found their real families because of our work. Kids who won't have to spend 30 years wondering why they weren't good enough to be loved. My phone buzzes with a text from Jessica. She tries to contact me every few months, still hoping I'll forgive her and welcome her back into my life. I read her message. Sarah, I'm in therapy now. I understand what I did wrong. Can we please talk? I delete the text without responding. Some bridges stay burned for good reason. Dr. Michael Thompson joins me on the porch with 2 cups of coffee. He's more than just a colleague now. He's become one of my closest friends. Someone who knew me when I was broken and still sees value in who I've become. The board meeting went well, he says. They approved funding for the new trauma center. Good. Kids who've been through what I went through need more than just money. They need people who understand. Victoria comes outside and sits beside us. You know what I love most about you, Sarah? You could have spent this whole year being bitter and angry. Instead, you turned your pain into purpose. She's right. I could have let Robert and Patricia's betrayal poison the rest of my life. I could have stayed angry forever, focused on what was stolen from me instead of what I could build with what I got back. But anger is exhausting. Helping people is energizing. I got a call from the prosecutor today, Victoria continues. Robert died in prison last week. Heart attack. I wait for some emotion to hit me. Relief, sadness, closure, but I feel nothing. Robert Coleman was a stranger who hurt me badly, but he's been irrelevant to my life for over a year now. What about Patricia? Still serving her sentence? Jessica asked if you wanted to know, but I told her you'd moved on. Moved on. That's exactly what I've done. Not just from Robert and Patricia, but from the small, scared person I used to be. The woman who begged for approval and settled for crumbs of affection as the sun sets over the California hills. I think about my real parents, James and Margaret. Harper would be 58 and 56 now if they'd lived. They would have watched me graduate college, helped me through heartbreaks, celebrated my successes. They would have been proud of the foundation and the lives we've saved. I can't get those years back, but I can live the rest of my life in a way that honors their memory and their love. Emma runs back outside and climbs onto my lap. Aunt Sarah, are you staying for dinner? Of course I am, sweetheart. Good mommy's making your favorite. My favorite. Someone actually knows what my favorite meal is and cares enough to make it for me. Such a simple thing, but it means everything to someone who spent 30 years invisible. Later that night, as I drive home to my own house, a real home I chose for myself, filled with photos of my real family, I stop at a red light and catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. I look like my mother. Same determined green eyes, same stubborn chin. But there's something else. There now that wasn't there a year ago. Peace. Confidence. The look of someone who knows exactly who she is and where she belongs. The light turns green, and I drive toward my future. A future built on truth instead of lies, love instead of manipulation, purpose instead of survival. I am Sarah Harper, daughter of James and Margaret Harper, protector of children who need advocates, surrounded by family who chose to love me. Not because they had to, not because they wanted something from me, but because love is what real families do. Sometimes you have to lose the family you thought you had to find the family you were always meant to have. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads to the best thing that could happen. And sometimes the person who tries to destroy you ends up creating someone stronger than they ever imagined possible. That person is me, and I'm finally home.